Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am going to be working on week 24 in my 2022 Project Life album. This is a week that I debated whether I was going to do it all. I was just going to ignore this week and just move straight on to week 25. This was an incredibly difficult and sad week for me, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to have that in my album or not. So in the end, I decided that I would. I did actually take a few photos this week, but they're a little bit more illustrative, I guess. I'm not going to add any visible journaling. I'm going to keep that private and tuck it away in a wee hidden journaling spot, and just kind of make it work for me, which I'm a big fan of. Like, I would have had no issue with just leaving this week out. It just happens that I had some photos, and so I'm going to put it in. I'm also keeping things super easy on myself, and I'm using that same Flea Market Findings 2 kit from Citrus Twist. It's still sitting on my desk, so I'm still going to keep using it because it is so pretty. I've just started with my very large photo enlargement there. It's a 6x8 photo. It's a pretty average photo, I'll be honest with you. But then when you kind of cut those enlargements up and put them into pockets, it isn't quite as obvious just how crappy that photo quality is. I've added just one 3x4 card, and then I'm using the first of my papers. I've got that lovely wood grain paper up the top for my title card. It was a little bit much having it down the bottom as well, and so I used one of the digital papers from July for my bottom right hand spot, and now I've moved on to creating my hidden journaling spot. This is my attempt at making a little 4x6 envelope. Now these are only 6x8 inch papers, not enough to use my envelope punch board to kind of just make me an envelope. So I was trying desperately to kind of fake one. I started by cutting down a 4x6 card just out of white cardstock, and then it's a little bit of a mess here. I get there in the end. This is just a spoiler alert. I cut down a top flap and a bottom flap, and then kind of have to fiddle around to get enough papers for the side flaps. Now I get there in the end, but I do have to do a whole lot of taping. It's lucky that it's kind of a fake envelope and I don't have to send this anywhere. I was hoping that this would just kind of fit in, but it didn't. I get there eventually, so I'm just managed to make kind of it's the back, but the front piece of this card look like an envelope using just cut out pieces from that 6x8 paper. It definitely would have been easier to use a cut file to create this. I wouldn't have had quite as much of a jigsaw to put together with my washi tape, but I get there eventually. I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, and I stitch all around the top and bottom flaps, and then I'm just adding a tiny little bead of glue onto the very, very bottom edge of those two side pieces so that I create my little envelope. So one of the things that I wanted to do this week was just keep it really simple. I'm going to go through these die cut pieces, but I'm really not going to add too many at all. I'm adding a couple under my little sushi photo with Lil, and then I'm going to add one onto the envelope just so I can kind of see that it's an envelope flap. The whole thing will be tucked into the pocket, so I won't actually have anything to lift the flap up with. So it's really, again, just a little bit more illustrative. I'll know it's there, and that's really all that matters at this point. I added that on with just one little puffy sticker. I'm going to add both of my photos down here on this 4x6 card. They were a little larger than I had intended. I don't think I was paying too much attention when I was printing. I've squeezed them on, and the only really embellishment that I'm going to give them is a little bit of washi tape. I just went into my stash and pulled out a few that I thought went with the kind of colors this week, and in the end I'm going to go with this darker teal grid stripe and just add a little bit to the top there. Now I have added one kind of filler card in there. It's just a little quote card that It's going to fill a little bit of space. I liked that the colors matched as well, and I'm not going to do too much in the way of kind of embellishing that either, but there was one tiny little puffy heart sticker on this puffy sticker sheet. You can see it pinging off there. I thought that was really cute and just a fun little embellishment to add to the bottom of that really simple card. So I'm already at my title card, and I loved how those numbers worked last week, so I'm basically gonna just scrap lift myself. I didn't have enough ease to use that blue alpha that comes in the kit, but the blue wouldn't really have worked with the color scheme this week, so I went with stamps. These are the Spencer alphas, and I'm going to use both the outline and the solid stamps. I stamped the outline first, and I'm just using my ruler guide as a little template to try and get that straight, and then I'm going to stamp over top of that with the solid stamps, so kind of getting that offset look that I had last week with the numbers. I wanted pink though. I started with Kitsch Flamingo. I decided it would be a little bit too dark and a little bit too cool toned pink, so in the end I went for this one, which is, I think, I can't remember, Spun Sugar, am I right? I can't remember, to be honest. It's just that lovely soft pink, and although it is a little bit cool toned, when it's stamped over top of that kind of wood grainy warm color, it does tone down a little bit. It matches that envelope just perfectly, so I was super happy with that. Again, I was going to add the numbers with the blue alphas, but they just didn't work, so I'm going to go back to my lunar alphas and just stamp in that week number. I'm stamping it just straight away in black. I'm also not going to worry too much about getting these stamps solid, so there's quite a kind of grain to them from the ink. I like that. It's a little bit vintagey. It kind of goes with the other vintage sort of looking papers and ephemera in this pack. I'm going to date stamp just directly underneath my week title here. I'm not worrying about a label. I did stamp entirely the wrong month though, so that was a little bit dumb. I carefully kind of masked that off so that I could restamp June over top. I'm not going to worry about it. I tested my ink color on the other half of that wood grain paper, so I don't actually have enough to redo the title card. I'm just going to learn to live with it. The last thing I'm going to do is just stamp a little sentiment directly onto my photo in this bottom corner. I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing. This was the Chloe Alpha. It's one of my favorites. I used all of the uppercase, and I'm stamping in Moonlight White so it really stands out on the photo. And then I'm going to call this spread all done. So this was really as simple as I could make it. A difficult week turned pretty in my Project Life album. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it's in there, and I'm glad I can move on. Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye.